Good day, this is Dimitri Lascaris coming to you from Lebanon for Reason to Resist on June 5th, 2026. I'm standing atop a hill on the edge of the Lebanese coastal city of Saida. Behind me is a world-renowned church known as Our Lady of Mantara. This basilica was built in honor of a very important religious site in the Christian faith, the cave at which the Mother Mary would wait for Jesus to descend down this hill into what were at the time the pagan cities of Tyre and Saida to preach to the residents of those cities. Being pagan cities, they did not permit non-pagans to enter, thus the Mother Mary waited here. This cave was discovered or rediscovered many decades ago, and subsequently this church was built to mark the importance of this site. We came here today because not to do some sightseeing. We came here because three villages adjacent to this one, this village where this important religious site is situated, is called Magdouche. Three villages adjacent to it on this hill have been subjected within the past 24 hours to an evacuation order by the Israeli military, and airstrikes on those towns are now anticipated. The evacuation order also included a neighborhood of Magdouche, the village in which I'm currently situated, which is predominantly Christian. But the villages that are being targeted are primarily Muslim. Now, when we were driving up this hill towards this church, we saw numerous families seated on the roadside under shade with the parents, children, other members of the extended family in some cases. These are predominantly Muslim families that have come from the three villages that are under the evacuation order to sit near this important Christian facility in the hope that it will serve as a sanctuary for them. And I'm just going to show you now some of the footage we shot as we were coming up the hillside and saw these families sheltering nearby.
Saida is packed. There's no apartments, there's no displacement camps, everything is full. So there's nowhere for them to go.
باي هلا
بالله
مهدي يعني عرفت وين رايحين؟ هاي بس إننا وين رايحين؟ أنا بدي أشوف التجمع وين؟ ما في إلا هون.
بدك ننزل نصور شوي ولا؟
هون لسه فوق I guess.
Yeah, this is the place.
نصور له أنا. طلع لايف.
Now also, as we were touring this site, we heard numerous explosions, and just a moment ago I espied the aftermath of one of them. I could see a plume of smoke rising off of a hillside in the distance, and this is what I saw. That appears to be the aftermath of an Israeli airstrike. We've heard several explosions from the site of the church, Our Lady of Mantara, during the past few minutes. Apparently that is one of the areas that was struck. We'll now go inside briefly into the Basilica of the Lady of Mantara so that you can see this extraordinary sight for yourselves. Next, we're going to visit the cave and the surrounding area around the cave, and we'll have an opportunity to speak to the public relations officer of this religious site who graciously took the time to explain a little bit the history of it. I also should point out that the site was closed to the public. It is closed to the public currently, but the staff kindly let us in because we are journalists and wanted to explain to our audiences what is going on here. So after I share with you the footage of the cave and the area surrounding the cave, we will then head further up this hill to see if we can get a good view from a reasonably safe distance of the predominantly Muslim villages that are under threat of bombardment today. And lastly, before I show you the cave and the surrounding area, bear in mind that yesterday the United States government, the Lebanese government, and the Israeli regime all announced yet another ceasefire. This is the third ceasefire that is supposed to cover Lebanon during Israel's genocidal rampage. The first one was entered into in November 2024, and in theory remains in effect, even though Israel has violated it thousands of times and virtually every day since then. And for most of that time, the Lebanese resistance did not respond by targeting Israel or even Israeli forces on the border, while Israel was relentlessly violating that ceasefire. Then there was another ceasefire entered into in early April. That is between the United States and Iran, which clearly was supposed to cover the entire field of conflict, including Lebanon and Gaza. The Pakistani leadership, which mediated that ceasefire agreement, confirmed unambiguously that it covered Lebanon. But Israel, the very next day, as we covered when I was last in Beirut, massacred in excess of 350 Lebanese civilians in the space of less than an hour in a brazen effort to destroy whatever prospects there were of a ceasefire in Lebanon. And now we have yet a third ceasefire agreement, we are told, came into effect yesterday, and Israel is bombing Lebanon as we speak. We have heard and seen the aftermath, or those explosions, and seen the aftermath of some of those airstrikes within the past several minutes. So Israel has achieved the remarkable distinction today of violating no less than 3 ceasefire agreements at the same time. This is the cave at which Mother Mary waited for Jesus as he preached to the residents of Saida.
عمل حلاس مسؤولة العلاقات العامة بمزار سيدة المنطرة بمغدوشة.
Public relation officer of Our Lady of Mantara Sanctuary.
And could you please briefly summarize for us the history of this beautiful church?
أول شيء هون المزار اللي نحن موجودين فيه هو مزار مريمي، وهو من أهم المزارات الدينية والمريمية بالعالم.
This sanctuary is a Virgin Mary sanctuary, and it's one of the most important and famous sanctuary in all over the world.
هون المزار بحسب التاريخ هو مهم كتير لأنه العذراء ويسوع كان في لهم حضور، اجوا على هالمكان، كان تجي العذراء ويسوع، يجي العذراء تنطر، ينزل ابنها يبشر ويرجع المساء لعند امه يقضوا وقتهم بالصلاه كل الليل بقلب المغاره.
According to stories, this sanctuary is so important because Virgin Mary was waiting her son here in Magdouche while he was doing his tour in Saida and Tyre.
هلا المغاره نسوها ناس فتره زمنيه طويله، رجع اكتشفها راعي سنه 1721.
This grotto has been forgotten for a very long time, and it was discovered by a farmer in
ذا شيبرد وقع بال
امتى اكتشفها الراعي؟
سنة 1721.
1721.
And in the past 2 months, have there been any explosions from Israeli airstrikes near this church?
صار في
في أي اعتداءات إسرائيلية على
لا أكيد لا، هون ما صار في أي
على
شيء.
جوار
على الأنتوراج طبعا، على إيه، بس نحن هون بقلب الضيعة لا ما في شيء.
abroad يعني abroad of the village, but on the sanctuary no, there's no attacks. Yes.
And I understand that the Israelis have issued an evacuation order for villages near the church today.
الإسرائيلي بعت إنذار إخلاء للضيعة المجاورة لمغدوشة.
إيه، ولحي من مغدوشة اللي هو يعني
على
مثل ما قلنا على حدود الضيعة.
حدود
And
الضيعة.
one of the neighborhoods of the village also.
Of this village, Magdouche.
Village that's on the entrance of the village.
It's also subject to an evacuation order. And these villages are predominantly Christian?
Yeah.
And I noticed that there were people, families sitting on the street as we drove up here. They are from the villages that are under threat?
في ناس كانوا على الطريق نحن وطالعين، هول الناس من الضيعة المجاورة.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They're seeking sanctuary basically from the Israeli airstrikes.
بس شغلة إن إحنا الضيعة المهددة هي مش مسيحية، الضيعة المهددة تبع مثل عم نقولوا هيدا هني مش مسيحية. أوكي؟ أحسن ما
The villages around are not Christian. Okay. The villages that were threatened by the Zionists are not Christian. This village is a Christian village. The people of the villages around they are seeking safety.
Yes.
So they came to the road where we were driving.
But this village is Christian and part of it is subject to the evacuation order.
A neighborhood.
That is our report for Reason to Resist from the Lady of Mantara Church outside of Saida in Lebanon on June 5th, 2026.